Hello everyone. Today I'd like to chat about stickings. So, sticking exercises are useful for us drummers for a number of different reasons, but the primary one, at least the way I see it, is for building vocabulary. Now, it's one thing to start with things like paradiddles and paradiddle diddles and a whole bunch of other rudiments you can find in the 40 basic rudiments of drums, but I like zoning in on groupings. So, specifically for today's lesson, I'm going to focus on groups of 3 and groups of 5, and I'm going to try and mix them up together and see what comes out. So the group of 3 is going to be a very simple sticking, just right, left, left, which eventually will invert to left, right, right. The next group is a group of 5. Now, the way I like to play this group, or at least the way we'll play it for today, is going to be right, left, left, right, right. And then that'll naturally invert to left, right, right, left, left. So, played in conjunction with the 3's, this sticking actually makes quite a nice phrase. That is interesting because it's asymmetrical. We're not dividing a 4/4 bar into 4 plus 4 as we would with a paradiddle, or as we would just do in our general playing. We're dividing it into 3 and 5 to get the same kind of 4/4 effect. So that's a great first thing to practice. Just practice playing one group of 3 into one group of 5 and keeping it alternating. However, today we're going to play along with the study. So I'm going to play the study along on the practice pad, and what you guys can do is you can try and follow along. Now the point of the video is that you play along. So treat it like a practice session and some accompaniment while you practice. See if you can keep up with the tempi that I play, and if you have any interesting ideas of your own, feel free to suggest them. The last thing I'll say before I get straight into the examples is I really like the idea of writing down a study like this and then playing what's written for a number of reasons. The first being is that it teaches you to read while you practice. For a lot of us, reading is a weakness, or at least I know it was for me. So being able to find ways to practice reading without really practicing reading was great for me because it really helped me solidify my understanding of how a chart works and how all the drum notation works when trying to play it, especially playing it at sight for the first time. A sticking exercise like this is great because it forces you to do all this reading, but only on a single line. So there's no complicated hi-hats and bass drums and stuff to worry about. It's just all single line melodic. Well, not even melodic. It's just single line stuff. Which means that for anyone who's intimidated by sight reading or reading in general, you really don't have to be. All right, I think that's enough for me. Let's get straight into the demos. Feel free to grab your sticks and play along. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed playing along with that, and I hope you find an exercise like this quite useful. I also hope that all the sheet music was easy enough to follow as it popped up on screen. So, in closing, I'd like to say that I really enjoy working on things like this that try to expand my vocabulary. Another thing I'd recommend that you do is you try and improvise within these stickings once you've got a study like this under your belt. If that feels like too much of a challenge, maybe just write your own study where you incorporate 3's and 5's and see what you can come up with by yourself. So the next step for me would be to try and improvise whenever I play stickings like this and just try and see if I can switch between them smoothly without having to rely on a piece of sheet music. It's not always easy, but hopefully I got the point across. The idea with a lot of these stickings is just to take them and make them your own. It's one thing to play an exercise, but it's another thing to improvise, and it's a very different challenge altogether. And I think a really good measure of how well you've got these things in your tool belt or under your belt is, well, can you improvise with them? Not so much how fast can you play them, although that is a technical challenge in itself. Lastly, take this to the kit yourself. See how you can apply these concepts and ideas all around the kit. Of course, you can improvise, or you can try and orchestrate the study in an interesting and musical way. Look out for a video in the future of me giving you some tips on how I like to do those kind of things. But for now, let's just leave it at the practice pad. Anyway, thanks very much for your time and for watching. Cheers.